right, welcome back to the Wholesome Financials Podcast. My name is Austin.
Susie.
And today, what are we talking about today?
Today, we're going to talk about a topic that everyone always wants to talk about, which is how to get business funding with bad credit.
Specifically, a business line of credit.
Yes.
With bad credit. And so we normally talk about 0% interest funding, but in some cases, there are better options and there are other options available. But if you have bad credit, 0% interest funding business credit card stacking isn't for you. We have another recommendation that we'd recommend, which is working with our partners to get you a business line of credit. So if people are looking to get a business line of credit with us, what are some of the qualifications? We'll talk about qualifications. We'll talk about paperwork needed.
Yeah.
And then we'll just talk about like the unique benefits between what we offer and competitors.
Yeah. So for starters, you have to have an established business for at least 6 months.
Yeah.
So meaning you have your LLC up and running for at least 6 months.
Yeah.
Obviously, the more the better, but that's like bare bones, bare minimums.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That makes sense.
And like we mentioned already at the beginning, there's no minimum FICO. So,
Yes.
Let's say you're still working through the credit repair process or you're not even there yet, but you want some funding, you need some funding.
Yeah.
This could work for you.
Yeah. And you also need to at least make $60,000 annual gross sales, not net, gross.
Yeah, which honestly shouldn't be hard, right? What does that average to on a monthly basis? About five?
About 5,000.
So about 5,000, and that's like you said, gross. So that's not net.
Mm-hmm. So that means like it doesn't matter what your expenses are as long as you're bringing in at least $5,000 a month.
Yeah. So because they're not going to look at your personal credit report to decide whether or not to give you this type of funding, they're going to want to see some revenue, right? So that's the caveat to this area, to this niche, right? Yes, you can still get funding. However, they're going to want to see paperwork that your business is profitable.
And that's just something that people need to know in general. If you don't have a strong credit score and you're still looking for funding, 9 times out of 10, you're going to go through some type of revenue-based funding.
Exactly, which isn't all that bad because there are people that make amazing money, right? Mm-hmm. Like $5,000 is like nothing to these people, right? Like some people can make $100,000, especially if you're in like marketing, if you're in e-com, if you're in trucking, like those have the potential to make a lot of money a month. But unfortunately, some people just don't have the credit just yet, right? Mm-hmm. Or they've never built credit.
Yep.
Right. They've always kind of just paid cash for everything. We know a couple of people like that, right? Like they just would rather do cash, and that's fine. But we have to show on paper that you are making money. So you have to have an established business bank account.
Yeah.
Because they're going to want to see at least 4 months of business bank statements.
Yes.
So another issue that I've seen business owners make is that they never actually open up a business bank account. They just like kind of like run everything through the personal.
Yes. And
you have to have a business bank account.
Yes.
And we have to show 4 months of those statements to be able to qualify for these type of loans or lines of credit, I should say.
Yeah, 100%. So you can be making, like you said, you could be cash flowing, your business can be doing well, but you have to have that official account for the people that we've partnered with in order to get a line of credit. And this is the other thing. Like, we're not talking about like a major bank. We're not talking about Chase or Wells Fargo. These are partners that we've made, that we've vetted, that we've worked with, that our clients have gotten funded with and through. Yeah. And so we just make sure we set them up and they're good to go, and then we hand them over to our team. But to your point, yes, you need to make sure you have that business bank account. It doesn't really matter where, but they need to see that statement in order for that to matter.
Exactly. So, if you have Cash App, Zelle, like if that's the form of payment that you currently take, it's probably not going to work, right? Like you need an official business bank account, whether you're, running credit card transactions, you have a brick and mortar store and you have a merchant account, you're processing credit cards, whatever the case may be. We have to be able to see that on paper because that's how they're going to be able to determine whether A, you qualify for a business line of credit, and B, how much, right? Obviously, like the more money that you bring in, the more they're willing to lend out to you.
Yeah, which that makes complete sense. And so we're going to talk about the unique benefits of working with us and our lenders. But And then we'll also, and then after that, we'll talk about like what type of limits are possible. Like how much funding are we talking about? We're not talking about like 25K. We're talking about a little bit more. So some of the unique benefits of working with our lenders, another great thing is that like if you get approved, if you match all the qualifications, you can get approved within 1 to 3 days. You can have that funding accessible to you, which is great.
Yeah. So that's a little different than going through a traditional bank. Like if you go to Chase, Bank of America, like these big brick and mortar banks, they're going to definitely want to see more than just statements. They're going to want to see taxes, P&Ls, even if they're just giving you like a 50K line of credit, like they most likely want to see that. And it takes a while. Like I've heard of a month, 2 months to complete underwriting and be able to get you, through.
I mean, that's on the low end, to be honest. A lot of, especially if you're going like the SBA route, like it could take up to 4 or 6 months.
Exactly. So what's neat about this is that with our partner, ROK Financial, they can literally fund you within 1 to 3 days, and it's straight cash to your account. So I think that's one of the sweet benefits of getting a business line of credit, because you don't have to liquidate. You don't have to, just swipe. It's literally cash that you can withdraw at any time and do whatever you need to do for the business, payroll, marketing, whatever it is.
Yeah, and you only pay interest on the funds that you've drawn. It's your credit's available as you need, and you can draw like from that fund source as many times as you need, which is fantastic.
Yes, so that's the sweet benefit. That's a lot of people get like the lines of credit confused with business loans. So really quick to break it down, lines of credit, you can reuse them. So let's say you get 50, you use 20, you pay back 20, now you have 50 again. And you can keep redoing that as many times. A business loan, it's like they give you 50, you use 50, when you pay it back, it's done. Now you have to reapply again for another loan. Yeah. So that's just a quick.
Yeah, so lines of credit are always more versatile. If you can get access to a high line of credit, that's the best, like you said, because you never, you don't have to reapply for that. You always have access to it. That's fantastic. So let's talk about how much funding, is possible. So on the low end, and we're talking, there's a range here, and we're going to give you, the qualifications differ, and we have a dividing factor. But on the low end, we're talking as low as maybe $10,000, right? And that's, you have to, your financials and how you're set up has to look pretty sketch for you to only get $10,000 from our lenders, and as much as $1 million. But we're going to talk through and split it in half. We're going to stop at maybe the 250 mark. We've seen that the $250,000 mark line of credit is the differentiator. So we'll talk about the qualifications between those two, because that is the tipping point where the qualifications change depending on how much you're going for.
Yeah. So like you said, you're asking for less than 250. The only requirements is you have a bank account, 4 months of business bank statements, and then just the funding application, which literally takes 2 minutes. We're going to put the link below to the application. It literally takes 2 minutes. You'll get a phone call from the team. They'll ask you to send in your bank statements, 4 months worth of that. And they'll determine yes, and if so, how much, and if no, and the reason why no. Yes.
And if you want more than $250,000 as a line of credit, you're going to need a little bit more, which makes sense, because you're trying to qualify for more financing. You're going to need the previous year business tax return, right? And you're also going to need your current year-to-date bank statements, which is your balance sheet and your P&L.
Exactly. So simple. If you want less than 250, you're only required to project or to show bank statements 4 months. Anything above 250, you're going to be required to give, a year's worth of tax returns and then P&L. So just a little bit more. Obviously, if you're getting a lot more money, they're going to want to see a lot more documents. But again, I want to emphasize credit is not an issue. But we do have to show that you're making money.
100%. And I'm pretty sure, would it make sense for us to put all these qualifications in description below, or at least probably just, have a white paper for people to access?
Absolutely. Yeah. We'll definitely link that below and kind of show it so people can have a more visual representation of what, we just went over.
Yeah. Or maybe we can do, maybe we can do a training on it, and go through it. But these are the qualifications. If you're interested and you're looking for $250,000 or more, up to $1 million in funding, you have bad credit, it is possible. You can get a line of credit for your business. with some of these qualifications, working with our lenders and our partners at ROK Financial, we really like them. We talked to a bunch of funding companies, but they've been great. We can vouch for them, and we're only going to present people that we can vouch with.
Exactly. And then let's say you click the link below, you fill out the application. If you send us a private message or if you post a comment, say, hey, I applied, I can literally get on the phone call with ROK and have your application pulled up to the front so that we can expedite you even faster. Yeah. That's how of a good relationship we have with them.
Yeah. Remind you, to be clear, you can get this funding in 3 days or less.
Absolutely.
This line of credit's available to you in 3 days or less.
Especially if you're on top of it. Like, let's say you apply early 8 a.m. We call for you. They get in contact with you. You submit your bank statements within the hour. Mm-hmm. Before end of day, you should have a response, whether yes or no, and how much. And then in 2 to 3 days, money should be in your bank account.
Yeah. So that's great. We get these questions all the time. So it's great to finally, provide something for that community that their credit, they're still working on it. They're not right there. Or maybe business credit cards are not the products that they're looking for. Here's a straightforward shot. There's no stacking involved. Boom, you can get it all. As far as interest rates, those are things like after you get through the process, like a lot of those things will happen if you're approved and you go through the process, then those things can be negotiated based off of your profile and what you're applying for. But just in general, this is a great this is a great step and a great start for those that are looking for funding.
Absolutely. So yeah, here it is, how to get business line of credit with bad credit.
100% in 3 days or less. So we appreciate you guys tuning in. Again, click the link in the description for access to the application for this line of credit with ROK Financial. If you have any questions, leave a comment or shoot us an email. We'd love to help you. And because we're partners with ROK Financial, we can help assist in this process. You're not alone. We're not just handing you over. We're very much involved. We get updates too to make sure you get the funding you need and so that your business can grow and scale and get to the next level. So with that said, we appreciate you guys tuning in with this one, and we look forward to seeing you in the next one. See you later.
Peace.